Hello and welcome to the Big Bad Bike Show. I am your host, the Up North Biker, and today I'm going to be reviewing the legendary Honda Blackbird. Before I continue with the review, please do like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell, and you won't miss another podcast or motorbike review that we put on. All our podcasts are available to listen to. Just search the Big Bad Bike Show on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We have also just branched out into Google Podcasts as well. And please feel free to join our Facebook group, The Big Bad BS. We are also on Twitter and Instagram. I would also like to give a shout out to Michael Russell and all the team at Russell Road Racing. They're a great sponsor of our podcasts and reviews. We wish them all the luck in the up and coming Isle of Man TT. Now that is out of the way, let's get into it. I am very proud today to be reviewing my very own Honda CBR Super Blackbird 1100 XX. Should get my breath back, and yes, that is the full name of the bike. If you are in the market for a very reasonably priced, fast and reliable, comfortable sports tourer, then look no further. The Blackbird was first made back in 1997 and was in production until 2007, named after the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird aircraft, and took the bike world by storm, becoming the fastest production motorbike in the world, with its own Guinness World Record. Honda was able to make a sports tourer with a whopping 164 brake horsepower and a top speed limited to 176 miles per hour, but still with the potential to hit 200 miles per hour. All the Japanese bike companies started battling it out to see who could have the fastest bike, but came to a gentleman's agreement to have all their bikes limited to 300 kilometers per hour. This particular Blackbird I'm riding is a 2000 model, meaning this old bird is 23 years old and still going strong. Surrounded in the aluminium frame is an 1137cc 16 valve inline 4 engine, which is thirsty with an average of 36 to 40 miles per gallon, depending on how you ride, but believe me when I say it is well worth the high fuel costs. This particular model is fuel injection instead of the carburettor models, and also features a larger tank of 24 litres, as the carburettor models had the 22 litre tank. I would say if you're looking to buy a Blackbird, I would say go for the 1999 model onwards, only due to the increase in tank size and to have fuel injection. But each to their own. You may prefer a carb model. A lot of people do prefer the carbs. They have the sonic cleaners and the stuff to balance them. Personally, I can't be bothered. I would much rather have fuel injection. Do be advised though, this is a fairly heavy bike with a wet weight of 254 kilos, and you can feel this at lower speeds. But even with the weight, I love the way the bike handles. If you're after winding on a bit with all the power, you can do, but also can comfortably ride at steady speeds. It is very much more of a sporty seating position, I would say, with the clip-on handlebars. It can take its toll on the wrists on long journeys. I've ridden up to about probably max about an hour and a half, and I've come to that hour and a half point, and I've got off and I thought, just a bit too much. But you can get a straight handlebar conversion, and a lot of people do this on the Blackbirds. It's just a lot more comfortable on the wrists, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of touring. A lot of people are not too keen on the dual combined braking system on the Blackbird, but I think it works really well. This means when you pull on the front brake, the back brake activates also. Some people have customised their braking system so they work separately, but like I say, I think it works really effectively, because you need plenty of braking to stop this absolute beast of a bike. With the Blackbird being around for a number of years, there is a lot of aftermarket products for them, which you would imagine. They've got stuff such as comfort seats, different windscreens. This particular bike has an upgraded windscreen, that's the only modification on it. Upgraded suspension, extended swinging arms, and my personal favourite, a turbocharging kit. Can you imagine riding this bike with around 330 brake horsepower? It's like, it would be absolutely unreal. But trust me when I say, they are fast enough already, they really are. These bikes are very reliable and mechanically sound, and being a Honda, the service intervals are far apart. There are a few issues which can happen over time, which I will get into now, very briefly. The automatic cam chain tensioners are prone to breaking. If they're not the upgraded version, I would check when it was last replaced. If the previous owner doesn't know, get it changed for peace of mind, as you don't want your cam chain coming loose. This could cause your timing to be out of sync and cause damage to the engine. You can also get manual cam chain tensioners. Now there's a bit of controversy of which is better. Personally, I'd rather just have the upgraded automatic, that way I know it's always going to be moving as it should. With the manuals, you've got to keep constantly checking them to make sure they're not too tight or too loose, but each to their own, decide which you'd rather have. The stator and regulator can give electrical issues and will stop the bike from starting. If they're faulty, this can be checked with a voltmeter to see if they're putting out the correct voltage. If they are too low, then they can be replaced, which is a fairly easy job, to be honest, and trust me, if I can replace them, which I did, then anybody can. The stator is like, I believe it's the American way of sort of saying alternator. It is like a copper coil spun, kind of looks like Iron Man's chest piece, if you like. It's really easy to replace, and obviously usually you would replace the regulator at the same time. The last thing I will mention is the dreaded wiring loom that plugs into the regulator. They have a multiple pin plug in the loom which tends to rust over time, causing issues with the electronics, but it is an easy fix. There are many guides on the Blackbird Facebook groups on how to cut out the plug and solder all the wires together to completely bypass the plug. All these parts can be found by searching on the internet, but I would highly recommend Jaws Motorcycles, who specialise in Honda Blackbird parts, being reasonably priced and great with customer service. I would highly recommend joining the Honda Blackbird Facebook groups if you can. They're really knowledgeable and friendly. Usually you will receive an answer if you have a question fairly rapidly, and they're really supportive as well. And it's also really funny to see the arguments on which colour is the best, and clearly, as you can see on my bike today, it's red. Red's the best colour. Other than that, these bikes are fantastic and very iconic. I am really proud to have owned one, and without the Blackbird we wouldn't have the high powered bikes we have today, such as the amazing Kawasaki H2 and the Suzuki Hayabusa. But I've done enough nattering for now, so enjoy the ride and keep watching for the walk around of the bike. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Honda CBR 1100 Blackbird. It's actually, the full name of it, like I said in the video earlier, is the is the Honda CBR 1100 Super Blackbird XX. What a gobful that is. And this is the fuel injection model. When they first came out in 1997, they were carburetor, and once they got to 2000, or was it 1999 or 2000, anybody, I will check and 100% it, but pretty sure it was around then. That's when the fuel injection model came in. I've had this bike now roughly, I've had it since February, and it really is an amazing bike. I mean, it's iconic. It's an absolute beast. It really is. If you're looking for something that goes absolutely rapid, this is the bike for you. And also, it's not only rapid, but it's really comfortable. for a sports tourer. This originally was actually made during the sort of bike wars between all the Japanese companies. The Kawasaki made the ZZR 1100, which was proclaimed as the fastest bike in the world, and then Honda was like, nah, not having that, we're going to slap you in the face, and they made this. And they made this simply to become the fastest production bike in the world, which it held the title in 1997 to 1998, and that's when Suzuki came out with the Hayabusa, which obviously became the fastest production bike because they were having none of it as well. But it really is a gorgeous bike. Probably not going to be keeping it for much longer, only because, as people know that I've watched the Africa Twin review, I've really fallen in love with the Africa Twin, so I'm looking at selling this soon and getting an Africa Twin. So let's turn it on, because the sound of it is absolutely unreal. Oh, help for turn the ignition on. Obviously the bike's warm. Sometimes they idle a bit high when you first start them up when they're cold, but just listen to that. Absolutely unbelievable. So there's not really much different with this bike, to be honest. The only difference is the screen is not standard. That is a double bubble screen, and it's made by Power Bronze, which was on the bike when I bought it. Apart from that, it is a completely standard Blackbird, and you're roughly going to pay for one of these. I mean, this one's very good mileage. This is, let me just check, yeah, so it's just nearly at 34,500 miles, and it's in pretty good condition, this one as well. So you're looking at around £2,500 to maybe even £3,500. You can get some that are a bit cheaper. Some of them are around £2,000, 1,700 quid, but they tend to be a lot higher mileage. I did see one for sale the other day with 150,000 miles on it, which is unbelievable. But the engines are solid. It's a Honda, as I've said before. You cannot go wrong with a Honda. As long as you look after them, they'll last for a lifetime. A lot of people actually use the engines out of this bike to put into kit cars. So you do find a lot of people that are selling rolling shells as well. I was thinking about getting some aftermarket cans. A lot of people do, but obviously, like I say, I'm going to be selling it soon, so I didn't bother in the end. I have a buyer who is already sat there waiting for the money, with the money to buy it. He's absolutely itching to get on it, but I have to wait until I find my Africa Twin first, because I just can't part of it until then, especially with summer coming up. If anybody does have any questions at all about the bike, please do email in to podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. You can also go onto our Facebook group, which is the Big Bad BS. That's our more popular one. We're getting a lot more followers on that one now, and it's really nice to see that people are wanting to get involved, because that's what we want on the podcast. We want people to get involved, ask us questions. If anybody has a bike in mind that they would like us to ride and review, please let us know, and I'll try and get hold of some bike garages in the local area that would be willing to obviously let me take it for a test ride, because I really do enjoy doing these videos. I think it's great. So yeah, that's the end of the review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, and hit that notification bell as well, so you don't miss any more reviews or podcasts that we put up. And yeah, all the best. Ta-da!